The enemy begins with a glimpse of city where Canaan is shooting at flying balloons. Children are having fun. A man is running down the street with a pistol in his hand and got shot by Canaan and dies instantly. Some children falls after slipping on blood. Then, scene shifts to a plane where Mino and Oosawa are on their way to Shanghai to cover an event. Canaan returns home to learn that Alphard has been taken into CIA custody. Mino and Oosawa were there to photograph the event. When someone removes a man's cartoon mask from his head, he begins to yell. He runs and falls in the river while crying. Some members of the Daedala Corporation are discussing the formation of a private military company. Then they talk about synesthesia, which is when a man can use all 5 of his senses at the same time. Oosawa and Mino are at a fair when Oosawa notices a dragon with a fountain-like mouth. Meanwhile, a man's mask falls off, and he covers his eyes with his hands. His eyes start to bleed and he collapses. Canaan appears and drags Oosawa away from the man. They both flee the scene. Mino attends the festival and looks for Oosawa, but she is not there. He notices Canaan shooting and fleeing. She also fires dragon. The army van is moving while another van is being bombed. A helicopter is shooting at the van. A girl named Nisama hangs herself from a helicopter. Mino examines the negatives and is astounded to see Canaan. He inquires about her with Oosawa, who informs him that Canaan is her friend. Oosawa was a victim of a virus attack in Shibuya 2 years ago. The virus is called Ua, which means flower and death in Swahili. Oosawa was kidnapped and immunized against the virus. Her father Kenji was a researcher at the time and developed an antivirus drug that saved Oosawa, but he has since suffered from amnesia. All of this information is given to Mino by his boss, and he is asked to accompany Oosawa. Mino is told about Canaan and Oosawa, shows him the teddy bear that Canaan once gave her. A senior warns Canaan to be cautious because the snake organization is behind her. Oosawa and Mino visit a restaurant and notice a strange girl. Mino inquires about Canaan, where Oosawa first met her. They are conversing as Nisama and an elderly man attack them. They drive into the restaurant and an old man tries to shoot them, but they escape in a taxi. Canaan delivers them from the clutches of Nisama and the old man. When Oosawa and Mino return to their room, they discover bloodstains all over the place, and their negatives for the photo are also missing. A girl dressed as a cat is going to a nightclub. Mino and Oosawa pursue her into the club. The girl approaches their table and displays the mark on her body. When Mino tries to approach the girl, another guy becomes enraged. Canaan is making an Eiffel Tower out of copper wire. She speaks of the old man who was murdered by him. Mino awakens in the morning while Oosawa is still sitting in her bed. She's worried about Canaan because they agreed to play together. Meanwhile, Canaan arrives and Oosawa is delighted to see her. Canaan approaches Mino for an interview, but Canaan declines because she wants to play with Oosawa. They then go outside to play. They spend money and eat delicious food. Canaan shows her how to make the Eiffel Tower out of copper wire. Her family was killed in a war. She reveals a snake tattoo on her arm. They both remember that Mino was once kidnapped and a bomb was planted on her head. She uses her synesthesia to find Mino's location. She killed the kidnapper and later discovered that the bomb was a prank. While Oosawa is in the room, Mino is knocking on the door. She is thinking about Canaan, who removed the bullet from her arm. Canaan was trained by a man named Siama when she was young. He taught her numerous shooting techniques. Canaan told him that she likes guns because they are colorless, but she despises the sun because it is blue. She notices that her adversary color is blue. When the police arrive, the anti-terrorist conference continues, but the public reacts strongly. Canaan Sr., who forewarned her about meeting a man in a hotel. Mino and Oosawa go out to eat. They both notice a strange girl playing the piano. A beautiful girl named Nisama steps out of a car, and everyone admires her beauty and confidence. She is in Shanghai for an anti-terrorism conference. She is a member of the royal family. After dinner, Mino and Oosawa go for a walk. Mino and his friend discuss the symbol he sent her. Oosawa searches for Canaan to apologize to her. Canaan, she believes, always saves her when she is in danger. While walking, she is thinking about Canaan when some people tease her and try to steal her camera, but a girl rescues her. She advises her not to go anywhere alone. Canaan attacks Nisama in the conference call restroom, but she strangles Canaan. Canaan learns from the girl that she murdered Saim. Canaan is forced to flee after hearing a police siren. Some people are debating the anti-terrorism conference. Miss Leon Kai, the boss, is instructing her subordinates. Oosawa runs with Yun again, and this time she cooks fish for her. Before leaving, she hands Oosawa the keys to her house. Yun's boss, Miss Leon Ki, assigns her the task of injecting the UA virus into the Japanese vice minister. Yun goes to a bar for a job, and a girl gives her a costume to wear. Yun adds the virus to the minister's drink as Oosawa and Mino arrive. Canaan's superior informs her that she has obtained information about Yun, who is being used by an organization. Canaan attempts to threaten Yun, but Oosawa intervenes and stops her. Yun informs her boss that she will be unable to complete the mission. Yun straps dynamite to her body after receiving orders to kill Canaan. Yun jumps into the water with Canaan to kill her with dynamite, but Canaan saves her. Oosawa and Canaan take her home, and they rekindle their friendship. Mino inquires about the mark on Yun's butt, and she informs them that it is the symbol of mourners. She also decides to leave Miss Lianqi's office and join Canaan and Oosawa. Miss Lianqi claims that Yun will return because no more babies can survive without medicine, and that if she does not, she will choose death. Yun leaves a letter for Oosawa and goes. Small village in Kashmir vanished one day, and all the villagers vanished, leaving only survivors with marks on their bodies. Oosawa recommends going to the vanishing village and showing him the envelope Yun left for her. The letter serves as an invitation to cover the conference. Miss Lianqi is in the conference hall's control room singing that Oosawa is going to die. The President of the United Kingdom has also come to attend the conference. He begins his speech by discussing the war on terrorism, which he claims has been won. Oosawa is photographing the president when Nisama approaches her. Meanwhile, a bomb explodes on the president and Nisama tells Oosawa that she must fulfill a duty. Everyone was confined to the conference room. When Mino gets the news of the blast, he rushes toward the conference hall. Canaan Sr. reveals a backdoor entrance to the conference hall. Nisama also shoots a lot of people. Miss Lianqi enters the control room and requests that Oosawa be called. Miss Lianqi severely beats Oosawa and calls Canaan to inform her that she intends to murder Oosawa. People started dying after they spread a virus in the conference room. The terrorist attack is being discussed in the White House. Many people are dead in the conference hall and others are waiting to die. Meanwhile, Canaan enters and kills numerous enemies. Miss Lianqi runs outside screaming when she sees herself on camera. It is claimed that if the people in the conference hall left, the virus would spread throughout the city. They'd also discuss Kenji Oosawa's antivirus. Mino arrives at the conference hall and attempts to enter but is stopped. The meeting decides to contact Kenji Oosawa for antivirus, but in the meantime they learn that Kenji Oosawa has been murdered. They have only one chance to destroy the conference hall and save others from the UA virus. They direct the army to detonate a bomb. Meanwhile, Canaan's senior contacts him and she hacks the control room system. When the army attacks the first missile, Canaan uses her senses to change its course. The missile explodes a few meters away from the earth and people are saved. When the army staff learns that the bomb did not hit the conference hall, he orders the bombers to be called back. They also learn that Kenji Oosawa is still alive and well. Oosawa and Canaan are overjoyed, so they go outside where Canaan claims she can't see the true colors. Canaan has a dream in which Oosawa's body transforms into shards of glass and vanishes. Mino discusses the UA virus and its victims with Kenji Oosawa. Meiji reveals that there is no way to stop this virus. In the hospital, he also meets Canaan and Oosawa. The vice president speaks with Nisama and then instructs the operator to delete the conversation. Canaan informs Oosawa that she is no longer able to see the colors and thus cannot protect Oosawa. When someone is afraid, she sees the color green. If someone is hungry, she sees gray. And if someone has murderous intentions, she sees red. They both go to listen to music, and Heiko teases them by making a loud sound when she speaks, which hurts their heads and ears. Heiko recalls killing a child to comfort him when he was crying for his mother. In exchange for medicine, she works for a snake organization. Then Mino orders Oosawa and Canaan to go to the vanished city. Oosawa expresses gratitude to Canaan and requests to remain with her. Heiko tries to strangle Canaan and flees while they are sleeping in the car. She trips and falls while running down a hill. Canaan greets her politely and returns her on the way they come across Yunyan. He suggests they try the bread from the nearby bakery. Miss Alphard commands a man to assassinate Miss Lianqi. Yunyan and Heiko inform Yunyan and Mino that they will perish if they leave the organization without medicine. She says she wants to die in her hometown. They're all talking while being attacked. Canaan attempts to shoot the assailant, but Heiko tells him not to. A sound is created when Heiko speaks and the man dies. He was a merchant who lived next door to Yunyan. Kiji and Alphard are in a helicopter. Heiko remembers her past when Canaan Oosawa, Mino, Heiko, Sanatana, and Yunyan arrived in the village. Sanatana tells Mino about his former job at the CIA. He also explains how the UA virus spread throughout the village. Yun also tells the story of her kidnapping as a child. Miss Lianqi launches bombs into the village. Canaan and Oosawa are hiding behind a rock. When Nisama appears and approaches her, she inquires whether she can detect any color in people. Canaan informs her that same was her light, and that Nisama murdered Saim. Canaan becomes unconscious while remembering Saim. Oosawa, Mino, and Santana rush to see her, but Miss Lianqi assures them that she will soon awaken. When Santana notices Heiko, she is sitting near Canaan. Many people armed with weapons are also approaching her. Santana and Hako get into the car. He informs Mino that he will investigate the link between the snake and the CIA. They are all preparing to travel to the factory where humans are kept for experiments. When they arrive, they see a large number of people willing to help behind the bar. Canaan uses her powers to set them free. Canaan is described as a monster and only Hako is capable of defeating her. Miss Leonki also threatens her, and she flees to save Santana, but he will perish. Santana asks her to confess her feelings to him. Before Santana's death, Hako confesses her feelings for him. Miss Leonki teases them. Canaan Sr. joins them as well. Miss Leonki generates powerful sound waves, but after a while it only affects Canaan and the sounds transform into fragrance and colors. Hako is dragging Santana's body and threatening Mino and Canaan, but Mino steps in. Oosawa and Yun visit the flower garden and select a flower. Major Yuri of Canaan also appears and points her pistol at them. Alphard enters the flower garden and approaches Major Yuri about a card containing information about birthers. Mino has been wounded by a bullet and is speaking with Oosawa and Canaan when an American Special Forces helicopter arrives and begins bombing the area. Mino suggests that Oosawa take photographs of Canaan, Nisama, and come in a rod to reclaim Miss Leonki, but she injures Cumming. Nisama and Miss Leonki fight, and she severely injures Leonki. Cumming tells Leonki that if he kills Canaan, she will love him, but he does not. Canaan invites Hako back, but she refuses because she will always love the deceased Santana. Oosawa asks to take a picture of Canaan and greets her with a hug. Mino notices the sunset. Oosawa is looking at the negatives of images, while Yun is tinkering with copper wire. Canaan is walking when Oosawa arrives and takes her back. She feels trembling in her body. Canaan recalls her journey with Siam as they all travel by train. When she feels Siam approaching her, she runs and finds Same, who informs her that he was killed on this train. Alphard approaches Yum and Oosawa and sits down with them. Canaan, she says, will recognize her abilities and powers when someone understands and loves her. Canaan tells Hako that Alphard did not kill them, but that it was Canaan's fault. When Canaan discovers Yun and Oosawa are missing, she inquires about Alphard. She also discovers blood stains on the train's floor. Alphard informs her that she has boarded them in another car that contains a time bomb. She also severely injured Oosawa. Canaan and Alphard fight and attempt to kill one another. Oosawa asks Yun to leave her alone and go. When Yun successfully exits the train and Alphard places the gun on Canaan's head, the bomb is close to exploding. Canaan takes up her gun and they are about to kill each other, but Alphard tells Canaan that she will not kill her. Oosawa is anticipating the explosion. She claims that she is unable to illuminate Canaan. Finally, the bomb goes off. Canaan uses synesthesia to irritate Alphard. She eventually succeeds in injuring Alphard. She informs Alphard that Oosawa is still alive. Alphard tries to flee, but Canaan apprehends her and beats her. Alphard attempts to exit the train, but Canaan catches her arm and stops her. Alphard takes her pistol and shoots her arm repeatedly, cutting her arm and falling. Alphard's arm is still in Canaan's grasp. Mino pays a visit to Oosawa in the hospital. Oosawa and Canaan are no longer together, but they still remember each other. Oosawa and Mino return, and Oosawa tells Mino about Canaan. Oosawa and Mino held a photo exhibition of a vanished village. Oosawa recalls Canaan fondly and has photos of both Canaan and Alphard.